Nick, give me the emotions that you're feeling right now, because there have to be a lot of them that have gone through your mind over the past few weeks, all leading up to today.
Yeah, right now it's kind of a relief that I made my decision. I've announced it too, and people know about it. And it's been last few days has been very emotional. Where I had my meeting with Kenny last week, where I gave him what my thought and what I wanted to do, and he told me to take a long weekend and think about it, and I'll get back to you. And he got back to me a few days ago, and I said, no, the decision still stands. So it's been very emotional, where you're seeing a lot of friends and a lot of former teammates, former coaches, and current players, and you're going over a lot of things in your mind and talking about different things you've been part of. So it's been very emotional.
Now, Kenny had respect for your decision, but he let us know he didn't necessarily agree with you.
No, he didn't. No, he told me he still thought I could play up to this level, play where I played last season, and he told me to needed a week or a couple of weeks or even a couple of months to decide. Just take your time, he said, but I've already made my mind up, and I told him that too.
He wasn't done. He then sent Shelly after you, and you guys went paddleboarding, and the idea behind that was to get Shelly to kind of gauge, is there any shot here? How did that go?
It did happen. Shelly and I talked, I think it was Tuesday night, and we decided to go paddleboarding yesterday, and he didn't tell me, but I figured Kenny must have sent Shelly to convince me or try to turn me, but I told him as well that I made my decision, and Shelly and I had a very good talk about his decision when he called it quits a couple of years ago, and explained what he went through. So it was a good talk for me to be able to talk to someone like that.
You've done this the past couple of years, where you've told everybody involved that you were going to take some time to decide whether or not you wanted to come back. Until now, you had. Why was this year different?
The last couple of years, I've kind of done the same thought process of taking a couple of weeks off or a few weeks off and kind of take the emotions out of it. We've lost in the playoffs, and you're very disappointed and not feeling very good. So I wanted to take the emotions out of it and then start working out again, getting back to doing my routine. And in the last couple of years, I've had that fire. I have the will to go through it. And this season, this summer, I just didn't have that. And I knew it was going to come sooner or later. I realized how old I am and how many years I've played, so I knew that was going to come. And it did come from it this time around.
You're at peace that in 4 months that fire might not come back? I mean, heck, Dominik Hasek's talking about coming back. He's 47. It's been a while. I mean, you're still an elite athlete. You don't fear that maybe a little ways down the road you're going to say, man, what did I do?
Right now I don't. Right now I feel 100% committed to my decision. I feel good about it too. And I'm sure once the playout or the training camp comes around again, you're going to start thinking about what you've done in the past, and that's not going to be there for you. So I'm sure you're going to have feelings about that. But right now I feel very confident about my decision.
You've accomplished so much. You will head to the Hall of Fame as soon as possible. When you walked through those doors for the first time, what did you think was possible for you in pro hockey? Or was it just, please let me survive here?
Pretty much survival mode. I played for Sweden in the Canada Cup before I came here, my first training camp, and I wasn't sure where I would fit in, if I was good enough to play over here. And then I played against the best Americans and Canadians and Russians, and I realized I can't play over here. So I think it took me a while to get my feet wet and get comfortable playing over here. And I didn't envision being here for 20 years. I thought maybe a few years and see what it's like to play in the best league in the world. But it lasted 20 years, and I've been very fortunate.
You've done all the individual things, but I know what's always been most important to you is the team thing. 4 cups, 1 team, 1 city. That's a pretty amazing run.
Yeah, and I feel very fortunate to have played with one team throughout my career. I never wanted to explore free agency, for example, and see what was out there, if I could find another team or go after more money. I always felt comfortable with this team, with this organization, and the ownership that are so committed to winning. They're still committed to winning. They want to win so bad that I wanted to be part of that. So I never even thought about playing somewhere else.
Reflect on the fans for just a moment and what it was like to be a Red Wing in this town.
It's been amazing. Going back to our first cup in '97, being part of the parade, being part of something so big that hadn't happened in 40-some years, bringing Stanley Cup back into town, and seeing the fans come out and seeing I remember an old man coming up to me crying and thanking me for bringing the Stanley Cup back to town. Just the passion that the fans have. I mentioned that in my press conference that I missed a few games late in the year sitting up in the press box, and you're very close to the fans, and you can just sense how passionate they are. When you're on the ice, you're focused on what to do, what the task at hand, but when you're up there, you can feel the atmosphere in the arena, and they're a big part of what we've accomplished here over the years. And I'm very thankful for all the fans throughout not only Detroit but Michigan that's been supporting us for so many years.
Final thing, Nick, when people talk about you, they talk about what you accomplished, they talk about your great abilities, but they also talk about your class and the way that you always handled things. There's a lot there for a young player to learn from. If you were giving advice to somebody coming in who's got a world of possibilities in front of them but has to handle it the right way, what would it be?
I would say don't take anything for granted. I think some players or young athletes take things for granted when they're playing well, and they think everything should come their way. You can't take anything for granted. I've always tried to be respectful to other people. I kind of take the title away, and we're all people, and that's the way I've approached it over the years. And I try to treat people with respect and dignity, and that's the way I want it to be treated too. So that's the message I would have to young players.